This week we will be covering geometric series. Remember, sequence is a list of numbers, but the series is a sum of the terms of a sequence. Now, in order to find the answer to the geometric series question, here we have two formula. Here's the first one and the second one. You notice that these two do look alike. Essentially, they are pretty much the same. You can even forget about one of the on the right side and just use the left one for all the problems. However, right formula, this one, will be useful if common ratio R is negative or less than 1. We'll talk about that in the following examples. So let's just dive into example number 1. First, for this question, first we need to identify N, U1, and R. Now, can you tell me what N is? Let's go back right here. N is the number of terms you're adding. And in this case, we are adding 12 terms. So N is 12. And let's find U1. What is U1? U1 is the first term. Now, what is the first term of this series question? The first term is 2. So U1 is 2. Next, we need to find out R, the common ratio. Now, how do you find common ratio? Common ratio, in order to find that, you have to pick a number. Usually, you just want to pick the second number. In this case, it's a 6. And then divide that by the previous number. 6 divided by 2. Which you will get 3. Or you can even do, if you pick 18, then you do 18 divide by the previous number, which is 6. And you get 3 again. Okay? And you should get 3 all the way through. If you pick 54, divide by 18, you will get 3. So common ratio is 3. Okay, now we are ready to find out the answer. Now, which formula are we going to use? Let's see, I need to erase that. Now, so we've got two formula to use. Now, since R is positive 3, in this case, you want to use the first one because just take a look at it. If you put 3 in R, what's 3 minus 1? And that's 2, which is pretty easy, isn't it? But if you try to use the second formula, if you put 3 in R right here, you have 1 minus 3, which is negative 2. And I would rather have positive 2 than negative 2. So I am going to use the first one. Okay, so the formula says so let's substitute. Okay, let's plug in. So S 12 sub 12 equals U1, what's U1? 2 times, what's R? 3 to the, what's N? 12th power minus 1 over 3. R is 3, 3 minus 1. Okay, and then we're just going to take our calculator to figure out what this is. Okay. So let's take out your calculator. Now, the denominator, that's going to be 2. Okay. And the numerator, let's figure out. We can just do this all in one shot. Now, if you want to break it down, you want to do 3 to the 12th power. Okay, so let's do 3 to the 12th power and then enter. And then minus 1, enter. And then multiply that by 2. Multiply that by 2, which is, so I get 1062880 divide by 2. Okay, and so that divide by 2, the answer will be 531440. I want you to pause your video, pause the video right now and try to figure out until you get that number 531440. Okay. Now let's move on to the example 2. Again, the procedure is the same. So let's identify N, U1, and R. Now, what is N? Can you tell me that? Now, N is the number of terms you're adding. How many terms are we adding? We are adding 15 terms. Okay, so N is 15. U1 is the first term. What is the first term? First term is right here. First term is 3. Next one is R. Now, do you know how to figure out R? You pick a number. So again, let's pick the second one, -6, and then divide by the number previous, which is 3. So -6 divided by 3 is -2. Okay, so R is -2. Again, we don't need to do this, but if you pick 12, you could pick 12 and divide by the previous number, which is -6. 12 divided by -6 is, again, you get -2. Same thing. Okay, so R is -2. Now we're going to apply the formula. Now, which one are we going to use? This time it's R is a negative number. It's a -2. Now, if you put -2 in the first formula, you get -2 minus 1, which is -3. Which is okay. You can still use this first formula. However, if you put -2 in the second formula, you get 1 minus -2, which is +3. And so for that, I would rather have a +3, so I'm going to use this time second formula. Okay, so let's copy that. So here we have S sub 15. So we're adding 15 terms equals, what's U1? U1 is 3 times 1 minus, now what's R? R is -2. So I'm going to use another parentheses, -2 to the N is 15th power. And then I'm going to close that big parentheses over 1 minus -2. Okay. Now, I can foresee some problem here because we've got, is anybody thinking that this negative and negative, since negative and negative is right next to each other, you're going to make it into positive. Now there's a big danger in that you cannot do that. The reason is this negative 2 is tied up with this 15th power. There's an exponent, okay? And so you have to do negative 2 to the 15th power, and then you proceed from that, okay? So now if that confused you in any way, you can do this all in one shot of figuring out the numerator by just typing into the calculator 3 parentheses 1 minus negative 2 to the exponent button 15. And then you will just get the right answer for that numerator. Okay, so let's try that. You will get 3 times 1 minus parentheses negative 2 to the 15th power. And you will get 98,307. And then the denominator 1 minus negative 2. In this case, this negative and negative become positive. You can do that because there's no exponent to negative 2. And that's going to be 3. Okay. So all you do, 98,307 divided by 3. You get 327. 69. So again, you can pause your video and try until you get that number, 32,769. Okay. The challenge in this week's material is that you do the calculation correctly with your calculator. Again, please try a couple of times until you get the number, okay? Now, this concludes the video instruction for week 5. Can you believe that we've been doing this for 5 weeks now? Again, I really appreciate all of you for making an effort of making the best out of the situation. I know that some of your parents are working and that you are all by yourself. Maybe you're taking care of your brothers and sisters. Perhaps you have to make yourself a lunch, or even for your siblings. Last week was a teacher appreciation week, but I feel that real kudos has to go to each one of you. So great job. Now, next week, the week 6 is going to be a catch-up week. So there will be no assignments or a quiz next week. But for those that are getting a little behind, you will have a chance to get back on track. With that, please take care and have a great rest of your week.